Hey everybody, it's Craig back with another Mortgage Minute, and I'm excited today because I'm here with Michelle Patterson with Simply Home. Hey Michelle, how are you doing?
I am doing well, Craig. Thank you.
We are going to talk about I don't know, I guess you'd say kind of a focus that Michelle has really kind of dove into over the past probably 12 months, maybe longer. And I want to put some context behind this because I think it's a really important topic. Okay. I want you to understand something. Michelle is a very high producing realtor. Okay. And I think it's important to understand that about her. She would not say that, but she is. And spoiler alert, sometimes when you see realtors on social media, you might think they're closing a lot of deals, but they're really not. Okay. Michelle is the real thing. And the other part of that is she is one of the most professional people I have ever dealt with in this industry. Okay. And I deal with a lot of realtors and other people in our industry. She's a pro's pro. Okay. Now, here's why that matters. Had a conversation with her, I think it was last week, and she mentioned something. I don't remember what she said. And I was like, well, tell me more about that. And she was telling me that, hey, I've really kind of gotten into estate sales and continuity of life. How do you say it? Continuity?
Continuity of care.
Continuity of care. Okay. That's a hard word for me to say.
I
And
understand.
yeah, and so she mentioned that, and I was like, you know what? That's interesting. And the first thing that popped in my head was, if this is important to Michelle, I want to know more about it. Okay, so that's the reason I'm giving you kind of the context of this. Okay, she is not someone that could not sell real estate. It's like, well, I need to find a niche. She's already just knocking it out of the park, and then she has a heart for someone that has a need, maybe an elderly parent or something like that. So I say all that to say, Michelle, thank you for coming on here, and I'm excited to hear about what you're doing. And so there you go. I guess the question would be, how did this come about? Was there an incident, or was there something that made you think, hey, you know what? There's people out there that need some help, and what can I do to help?
Yep, that's a great question. Thank you for such a wonderful introduction. I'm flattered. Thank you. So the reason why this became a passion of mine is because just organically through the years, you will receive different transactions for all different needs. And what we started to see is that we were getting more people that were coming to us that were dealing with these transitions of life for their parents and their grandparents. And they really didn't know what to do. And what I found is that although I was their first phone call, they really didn't know where to take it from there. And being completely transparent, as I got my first phone call, I didn't know really where to take it either. So luckily through the years, I've had some just wonderful resources with attorneys that I was able to lean on. But what it did open my eyes to is I started diving into each transaction and peeling back the layers of these, is that really people are not properly educated on one, estate planning, the transition for continuity of care, and estate sales in general. And so me being who I am, I always want to learn and grow, and I want to figure out how I can help people. And so everyone is at a different standpoint when they come to me with these transactions. And so we wanted to dive in, figure out how we could tailor a service so that when I am their first phone call, I can meet them where they are and figure out how I can help them. And sometimes that's, that maybe they've already made a contact with an estate attorney. We talk about, is there a will in place? Some people get confused and think, well, I've got a will, I can just sell the house, I can do these things. And people don't understand that the purpose of probate is to honor the will. And so many different questions have come up through this. And so we have taken the last probably 12 months to really do nothing but put a major focus on this type of service, with anything from just the providers that can help them from multiple estate attorneys. I've got, someone that can help them declutter their home if they need to, because sometimes I'm transitioning people from a 2,500 square foot home to, 500 to 600 square feet. And those are really delicate moments for that person. And so it's just something that I have grown to love. It's not the sexiest niche of real estate, but just the care involved, I have loving on people. And I think that is why this has become so passionate for me.
No, that's awesome. And if you can hear Michelle talk about this, the key is a lot of times, I wouldn't say every time, but a lot of times you've got an elderly person that knows they have to do something, doesn't mean they want to do that, right? I mean, it's not exactly what they want to do. And I would imagine, you tell me if I'm wrong, I would imagine there's another family member, probably a younger family member, that's charged with helping them. And they're like, hey, I don't know what to do. Right. Like I know for me personally, my wife is an attorney. So when things like that come up, she's really good about figuring out, what to do. I am not. So our kids are lucky that they've got mom because that is not my strength. And so I would be picking up the phone and calling you and going, hey, we've got this situation. I know eventually we're going to need to sell a house, but I don't even know where to get started. And so basically you're saying, you know what? They can start with you and you can start leading them down the path of whatever they need, right?
That is a correct statement. Not one I could make a year ago, but now if someone picks up the phone and calls me, I'm going to be able to figure out, one, where they are in the process. Are we looking at a transition, or has the homeowner passed? And so we have certain questions that we'll be asking them so that I can help them then figure out and navigate the path for them that will just make it so much simpler. And basically just get the right individuals in front of them, because that's where they get lost is, they'll call someone just to sell the piece of real estate, or they'll go, hey, my mother passed or my father passed. I had one where a sibling, it was a sibling that passed unexpectedly. They just did not know what to do. It was, an unforeseen death, and they're just lost. And we have to remember that they're in a point of grieving. And so for us to step in and be able just to help them navigate that, just takes so much off of them during the process. So.
Yeah, and I know this oversimplifies it, but I always think that in many stages in life, what we're looking for is we're looking for someone that we can go, hey, that person's got my back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that person, I can lean on them. And even though these are, probably people that are not your close friends and family, that you're necessarily working with,
Right.
but you are someone that they can lean into for whatever their needs are, and it's going to be different for everybody. And I'll tell you this: if you've never sold a property that deals with an estate or deals with someone that's passed away, there's a lot of nuances to that can really hang up someone that's not familiar with the process. And so, again, I would say you want to be calling someone like Michelle, specifically Michelle, if you're in the local area, because she is that person. She's the one that's going to make sure that as much as possible, you don't have issues that hang you up. And I mean, sometimes this can be months long problems that could have been
Mm-hmm.
solved on the front end. Nothing against the person who was working on it. They were trying, they just didn't know, right? They didn't know I need to do something different. So, and I'm sure you've seen that on the other side working with buyers, right?
Absolutely. And one thing to remember, and when people come to us and we're starting this transition, they're not quick sales, not all the time. So I tell people that there has to be a certain, for one, you can't sell the property until 61 days after the homeowner is deceased. So, that's one conversation. Because some people call me within 2 weeks after death, and they're wanting to list. So there are certain things that we make sure that we sign them up for success. But we also want to make sure that we're meeting and achieving all the goals that they need to do on the front end. And so I'm patient with that. And I tell them, I mean, I know that this may not be a sale that we're going to do and have it closed in 30 days. And so it's also knowing that information up front too, that sometimes we're just, we have to be patient in that process. And sometimes we have to clean a home out, and we have to do those things in order to get to the finish line. So, but yes, I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to meet them right where they're at and figure out really the best segue for them. And if it's a continuity of care and a transitional piece, we've done multiples of them at this point. And a lot of times it's me meeting with family members and figuring out really contents and things of that nature and what's going to stay and go. And we're there to help them through that too. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So the first time you said continuity, did you say it correctly, or did you have to say it a few times to really get it to roll?
I've had to say it a few times. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, listen, if somebody's watching this right now and they're like, you know what, that's me, or unfortunately, I know that's going to be me at some point down the road. And I'd almost venture to say you probably can't call too soon. Like, maybe if mom stubs her toe, don't call for that. But you could probably call early on in the process and at least establish the contact. So what's the best way for someone to get in touch with you if they want to find out more about how you can help them?
Absolutely. Everyone is more than welcome to contact me directly. And that's going to be on my cell number, which is 615-804-1187. And if by chance I don't answer, please leave me a voicemail, and myself or my team will get back with you promptly.
And I will second that, by the way. She will call you back. And at times she'll even apologize and go, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it didn't take you that long to call back, but okay. So that again, she's a pro's pro. I don't know what to say. So that's awesome. Thank you for taking the time. I really do appreciate it. And in all seriousness, if you're somebody that you feel like this is, your situation, I can't recommend enough. Give Michelle a call. And just have a conversation with her. I can promise you this, whether you work with her or not, you will be glad you made that phone call, because you'll get something out of it that will get you closer to where you want to be. And my guess is you're going to end up working with her because you're going to like her, but make that call. So awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Craig.